welcome back to another episode of the Recession Resistant Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Brandon Cobb, co-founder of HBG Capital. And today I want to talk about a conversation I had with someone who had been investing in real estate for 40 years. I love talking with people who've been around this while and been active for so long because I can almost guarantee that I'm going to learn something from him. And he gave me a piece of advice that I'll never forget. I asked him what he would have done differently. And his response was, you have to be very flexible and pivot with the market. He said, the biggest mistake I made was creating a strategy and going and trying to bang my head up against the market when really the market should have been dictating my strategy. And I was thinking about everything that has, been going on, especially the past 6-7 years. And it couldn't be more true. You've got to be able to pivot with the market. You've got to be able to identify where the market's going, feeling when you're getting into that red ocean and pivoting to these blue oceans where deals come very freely, easily, and you can cherry pick the really good opportunities. So I want to talk about that today. But before we jump in, if you get value from these podcasts, please leave us a review and share with your friends and family. If you've been interested in learning more about having passive income direct to your bank account from recession-resistant real estate, head on over to our website, hbgcapital.net. Book a call with us on our Calendly link. We look forward to getting to know you. All right, so jumping into today's episode, this advice that he gave us, the market dictates your strategy. Your strategy doesn't dictate the market, was very interesting. So I want to talk about, one, I want to lead up into, what's going on today and, what strategies we think are going to be best positioned for the long term. But it was really interesting, looking back on my personal, journey back, 2016, 2017, when I was getting started, it couldn't have been more true. I remember when we first got started, there was so much money to be made flipping houses and wholesaling houses. The margins were fantastic. The deal flow was plentiful. I had plenty of deals. I didn't have enough capital for the deals. I remember flipping properties for, we'd buy them for probably, anywhere between 80 and 150, and we'd put anywhere between 20 and 60 into them, and we'd sell them for $250,000. So we'd make a $50,000 profit on a $250,000 home. Given the price point and the Nashville market that we're in being so far below the median home values, and having these big, 20, 22%, 25% margins on these deals, that's really good. I remember going on appointments and we would measure all of our marketing, and we were at one point we were spending, $30,000, $40,000 a month on marketing, and we were getting about $3,000 to $5,000 per contract. And that was really good back then. I looked at how many deals we were closing per appointment, and I was noticing that out of every 6 appointments that we went on, 6, 7 appointments, we were getting a contract. I was like, man, these are really good numbers. But as time slowly progressed and more people got into the market, it started feeling more like a red ocean. We weren't flipping properties anymore eventually at, $250,000 and making $50,000. We were flipping $450,000 properties and only making $30,000. Our margins were shrinking. Our risks were going up. We also noticed that our cost per contract was going from, $3,000 to $5,000 to like $6,000 to $8,000 per contract. We noticed that our appointment ratio went from like 1 out of 7 or 8 appointments closing a deal to like 1 out of every 15 appointments was closing a deal. We found it harder. Less and less phone calls were qualified phone calls. It was more and more people that were just, hey, just give me an offer over the phone, right? There wasn't as many qualified leads. So because we had measured our numbers and we're looking at all of these different variables, I call them key performance indicators. I think of it as, driving in an airplane or flying an airplane, and it goes night on you. How do you know if you're operating correctly? Well, you got dials. The pilot has dials that he looks at to make sure that he's in good shape. Your business is the exact same way. You've got to have key performance indicators that show you if things are going awry and you need to make some adjustments, or things are going well. And that's exactly what these were. And so margins were shrinking. It's getting harder to find deals. The sales funnel was getting tighter and tighter. And, we personally, we saw an opportunity to go into new construction. We just happened to be our own general contractor. We were looking at the time what the numbers look like to build a new home versus rehab a new home. And oh my gosh, I mean, everything was a deal to us, especially when you're in a position where you don't have to pay like a builder's fee. Everything was a deal. Like it was a blue ocean, and we could manage our own deals, which reduced the risk. And so back when we were building homes for, $105 a foot, wow, everything was a deal. We had again, it went from, we were back up to like 25% margins. We were selling $400,000 homes and making $100,000 a home. I mean, that's 25%. That's really good gross profit on that. We were really happy with that. The market was telling us, hey, you're in the right place. You pivoted your strategy to what the market was doing. And then the market did something interesting. Inflation happened. COVID happened. Supply chain issues happened. This caused construction prices to go through the roof. Our cost went from 105 a foot for these, nice homes to 165 a foot. I mean, 34% increase over a year and a half. That's crazy. And then we started to see our margins shrink because we were measuring things. Home prices, again, were going up. We weren't building $400,000 homes and selling them, making them $100,000. We were building, $600,000-$700,000 homes and, making anywhere between $80,000 and $150,000. Margins were shrinking. So again, we had to pivot. And one of the biggest things that we noticed was we were having a lot of material waste because we were building all these different products, and we were having to scatter all of our project managers all over the place to do all this spec infill that we were getting. We were doing onesie twosie deals, and we noticed and we said, man, what if we were just going to the same area every single day to build 30 to 50 homes? What if we're building the same product and we knew exactly how to build that exact same product over and over and over again? So there's no guesswork going from home to home for the PM to figure out the layout and the fixtures and managing it. What if we just did a uniform product throughout the whole subdivision? How much less product would we waste? How much time would we save on our new builds? How much would that save us in hold costs? And, as interest rates has shot up, we had to pivot again. So we were building these 2,000 to 2,500 square foot homes and selling them. And, interest rates went up. The market screamed, we want affordability. And we had to pivot again. We had to change our strategy. We had to start building these smaller homes, 1,200 to 1,500 square feet. People weren't as strict on, how much space they wanted, right? They just wanted to get in the house because we've got a severe lack of inventory and we want affordability. We need something. So we started building these homes that were, 400,000 and less. We were building them all in the same area. And, as interest rates shot up. What did we have to do? We had to pivot again because now the build to sell environment wasn't quite as predictable. We needed some predictability. Now, luckily, we're in a really good market, and there's a lot of great reasons why Nashville's not getting hit as hard as the other markets. There's a lot of insulation here for a variety of reasons, but building this smaller, more affordable home gave us a lot of insulation. But we said, man, what's going to work out for the long term? And one thing we noticed we'd done a really poor job of was holding assets for the long term. We've done some multifamily deals in the past. I personally invest my personal capital into other people's syndications. I like the depreciation, the tax savings, but we'd never built and held anything. It was always build to sell. And so we pivoted our strategy again. And we said, well, if we can build these products, and we were selling some of these communities to like larger home builders, build to rent funds were coming to us wanting to buy them. And I'm like, man, if these are a deal at the price we're able to sell it to other people as rentals, as these build to rent communities, it's got to be a deal for us at our cost. So we started underwriting and looking at the build to rent model. And anytime that you can buy a cash flowing asset that's going to cash flow long term under the most strenuous circumstances, stress testing every possible scenario and having it perform during that stress test, that's a win in our book. So, that's what we're currently focused on, identifying communities where we can build not just, 50, 60 homes anymore we're done in a year and a half, 2 years, but communities where maybe there's 256 homes. We're working on a deal right now, 256 homes. That's going to keep us busy for at least 3 years. We can build 60, 70, 80 homes a year, maybe sell 15 of them for some cash flow, hang on to the rest. So what we've learned is you don't create a strategy and then go test it against the market. Have the market dictate and tell you what the strategy should be. Till next time.